through the education institution. This country has great education institutions. And if you make them unaffordable, then where are we taking them? So you can't just take money from foreign students and say, okay, the rest of the world can educate themselves, but the people in this country cannot educate their children. We have to invest into a national health system, and we have to invest into national education system. The reason there's not enough money is because politicians are allowed to take private jobs after they have finished their political career. I think this should be stopped completely.
A very warm and sunny afternoon from our London studios. I'm Sohail Qureshi, and I'm bringing this special and very exclusive interview with Muhammad Khan, who is one of the candidates from Chesham and Amersham. And he is running this election, 2024, on the ticket of Workers' Party of Great Britain. Chesham and Amersham is just on the northwest side of London, and it has a population of 92,000 with about 71,400 eligible voters. This seat traditionally was with the Conservative Party for a very long time, until in the by-election of 2021, it was toppled by Sarah Green of Lib Dem, who is also running this election. The other strong candidates are Chris Shelton of Labour Party and obviously the current government's candidate, who is somehow faltering in this line of candidates. Muhammad Khan is actually a British Indian who immigrated in 2004. He's a computer engineer and he has an engineering degree in computer sciences. He runs a small and medium-sized business in fire safety for the commercial purposes. He's an extremely enthusiastic human being who wants to do something for this country that he says is a beloved country. Especially he is taken by the countryside of United Kingdom, and he wants to contribute to society in a very meaningful manner. So very warm welcome to you, Muhammad.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you very much for inviting me to your studios. Salam alaikum to all the viewers as well.
Yeah, so we are touched by your passion from an entrepreneur and what you said, common and ordinary citizen, to standing up to be the voice of people in the United Kingdom and to contribute meaningfully.
Yes.
So just please, let's go through your journey. What really made you become a political activist, and what parties you were before, and why did you join Workers' Party of Great Britain?
Right. I was, from the very beginning, a protest voter against Tony Blair's invasion of Iraq. So I wasn't happy, and from Labour voter to move to Tories in 2010. And then I stayed a Tory voter for a couple of years until Jeremy Corbyn came and became the leader of Labour Party. And I voted him in 2 elections. And 7th of October has changed everything in life, really. Life is not same anymore. The purpose of life has changed. And not only this incident, what's going on, the genocide in Palestine, changed what is the view of the world about Israel and Palestine issue, but how hypocritical the Western governments have been misleading the population here and exploiting the tax money and giving away in aid to NATO and killing innocent people around the world.
So it was a pivotal moment for you to then change to Workers' Party of Great Britain.
Yes. George Galloway is one voice in international politics, standing alone and speaking against the injustice carried out on Palestine. The whole of Islamic world is sitting quietly watching it, thinking this is not their problem. George Galloway started talking about it when this started. I used to follow Moats on the TV. And when he started to talk about Palestine issue, it resonated with what I was feeling and going through. And so another important incident was when October vote for ceasefire in Parliament. And I was thinking, okay, we have 50 plus MPs in the Parliament and we have some hope there. But after the vote, it was really a letdown, especially by Muslim MPs, so-called Muslim MPs. Majority of them supported continuation of genocide. So they are complicit in killing of innocent civilians, women and children, elderly people in Palestine. But the people who also abstained from voting for ceasefire. And I personally think those people who are still, even though they voted for ceasefire, but they are still with a Conservative Party or they're still with Labour Party, are also complicit because they have taken easy way. The right thing for them would have been that they resigned.
Yeah,
from
we have seen a huge protest on continuing, and you're right that this current conflict between Israel and Palestine has changed pretty much the entire world for one way or another, and that can be a very, very strong factor actually in this election, especially the British Muslim votes. And traditionally, the British Muslims or ethnic minorities, they side with Labour. And actually, the recent poll that came up, and the BBC was commenting that 52% of the people will vote for Labour, and whether they are complicit or not. And so you have a huge challenge there.
Yeah.
But let's moving on swiftly from there. So yes, there are overarching and huge global issues. But what are you going to do for the voters of your own constituency?
Yeah, very good question, really. So for me, joining politics is twofold. One was foreign policy, which affects the life of Muslims around the world. And I'm really concerned about it. Number two is the local residents of Chesham and Amersham area. So we have some really pressing issues. NHS, number one, top priority. Appointments, it's a nightmare, 2 weeks, 3 weeks wait time. Just if you're sick and you need to get an appointment, you have to wait for 2 weeks. By the time you really don't really need it. The other pressing issues are infrastructure. We have really bad roads, potholes everywhere. Railway, and the rail network, we have Chesham station. There's just one train every half an hour, not enough for the population, which it is now. The other pressing issues are the school spaces. We have good schools in the area, but we don't have enough school spaces. Outside the Chesham and Amersham area, there are some national issues that concern me, and it affects my life and life of my children, really, and the children of everybody in this country, is the university education. I firmly believe any country to take a leading role in global politics, their young people have to be extremely well educated, not through social media, but through the education institution. This country has great education institutions. And if you make them unaffordable, then where are we taking them? So you can't just take money from foreign students and say, okay, the rest of the world can educate themselves, but the people in this country cannot educate their children. Yeah. Why must we burden the youth of this country with hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of education loans?
I think you have touched that really my own very soft nerve, because I believe exactly like this, that education and science and technology is the fundamental factor that can really take any nation. And unfortunately, in the recent years, the government is not really doing enough for the local graduates. United Kingdom is an amazing country, especially for everybody all over the world, even though there was a legacy of British Empire, but especially for Muslims and people from India and Pakistan. And there's no reason that we can make this country great again, and where the freedom of expression, the tolerance, the British values and democracy can come. And one of the factors in democracy is this, that how the national exchequer is spent on the welfare of people, and education is the one. So do you have any particular idea that how you're going to reform the education sector?
Great question, really. It's one of the very important point for me. So I would start with the primary education. So school reforms definitely needed for the students, for the children, but also for the teachers. The teachers are overburdened. There's not enough spaces. Increase the school spaces, increase the number of schools, reform the education system entirely. Free school meals for every student for the whole school term without mean testing, very important. This is a shame. We're giving £60 billion to NATO to kill people, and we taking away money in the name of austerity from school meals. This is shameful, really shameful of Labour government and very shameful of the Tories government. Austerity is okay.
But I'll just have to stop you there. I know that one of the manifesto of a Labour Party is that they're going to put a VAT on the private school fees. And what is your view on that? Because definitely that is going to affect a lot of people, especially the cost of living rising. So what is your take on it?
I think for the people who send their children to private schools, and there are upper middle class people who want their best education for their children. It will be a wholesome impact on their monthly budget for sure. A lot of people will be reconsidering whether or not they can afford. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I was talking to my daughter's friends' parents, and they were really concerned how if Labour government comes in power and put VAT on school fee, they will have to reconsider whether or not they could continue to send their child to private school. But having said that, what about the school spaces in the public school? Especially in Cheshire and Mesham area, we have some amazing grammar schools. We need to increase spaces in those schools. We need to increase number of teachers.
Maybe new public schools.
And new public schools, yes. Absolutely. We have to invest into national health system, and we have to invest into national education system. And this has to be entirely reformed, invested into, and promoted. For example, university fees. I don't believe that our youth should be paying any fee for the university degree. Even though Workers' Party supports free education for university for the first degree, I would go a step further. I would say education should be free entirely for the citizens of this country throughout.
But where will you get that money from?
Oh, $60 billion we're giving to NATO. We have to claw that back.
We need our budget for defense as well. It's a very complex world.
Yeah.
And it's very important to safeguard the geographical boundaries of our country.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think there has to be kind of a balance somewhere.
You pointed out correctly, balance of spending. So out of 60 billion, 60 billion is spent given to a foreign organization of which we are part, which is doing no constructive work except for killing innocent people, promoting wars, and creating more danger for this country. I would say some of this money can be invested into NHS, some of this money could be invested into education reforms, infrastructure development, promoting of, I would say, inter-communities projects. But the money will come from savings on how we spend effectively, but also taxing the big corporations fairly. Nobody speaks about taxing the big tech firms, for example, Amazon or Google or Meta. Are these people paying fair taxes? If I were in a position to tax them, I would go back 20 years and claw back.
If I can read you correctly, you're saying that you're going to tax the big, the upper 1 or 2% crust of very rich people and the companies, and bring that money back to the more kind of proper financial governance and to spend on the infrastructure.
Yeah. I will just point out, the reason there's not enough money is because politicians are allowed to take private jobs after they have finished their political career. I think this should be stopped completely. This will encourage system of taxing people fairly. Nick Clegg, for example, Liberal Democrat, went on to join, I think, Meta after his political career was over. Now, he was a deputy prime minister in this country, and he ran against the conservatives, and then he joined hands with.
And he did very well, actually. You know, I must say, Lib Dem, and that's how they became the, kingmakers, and he became deputy prime minister.
But how did the people in Chesham and Amersham really benefited from there? And this has to be checked. There has to be an accountability about politicians and their transparency of how they perform.
You mentioned NHS. How is your constituents? How are they faring on their views about NHS? Because all over the country, actually, people are complaining about the NHS. So how are the facilities in your area?
At the moment, the wait list is 2 weeks on NHS. Of course, there are daily appointments, but they're very limited. If you miss your 5 seconds, that's it. Then you have to wait for the afternoon. And if you miss your 5 seconds, then you have to wait for next day. So it is very much in line with, I would say, rest of the country, but it could be better, I would say. If you are sick, for example, and you need to see a GP same day, you can't. Sometimes you have to wait for 2 weeks, and by the time you probably don't need to see them.
So how would you like to reform that?
Until 1997, NHS costed us less than 40 billion pounds. And today it is costing us over 180 billion pounds. And the service has gone down, really. So one thing that I would push for is renationalization of NHS. That's very important. And putting a check on all the private firms, big pharma companies who are involved, the contractors, medical contractors involved. It has to go back to the people. It has to be checked by the people. It has to be managed by the people. It has to be for the people. Unless the motive of the NHS become for the people, by the people, of the people, it will not really, it will work as a privately profiteering project. And this is what last 14 years of conservatives rule have done. They have brought it to the brink where people start to hate it, dislike it, and media contributes to it, of course. The mainstream media condemning it, and this has to be stopped.
So the cost of living is rising, and it's really affecting a lot of people. And obviously with the Ukraine war and the effect it has on the energy bills, and actually everything spirals out from there. And do you think you have some kind of a policy, you and your party, that they will work on and make things easy for people?
Yeah. First of all, I would push, and this is one of the Workers' Party manifesto, renationalize all the energy firms. Anything which is a significant part of everyday life of the people in United Kingdom has to be nationalized, including water and utility firms, energy, gas, electricity, but also transportation company. People have to spend a large amount of their income on traveling into London, for example. Cost of living, the personal. So one of Workers' Party manifesto is to increase the tax threshold from 12,500 to 21,200. Now, if you see how this impacts the 2 million people at the bottom end, it will allow them to have £1,700 more annually into their pocket.
Okay.
Yeah, so this would help, certainly help.
Yeah,
Christmas
right.
time, and in a time of difficulty, maybe one extra holiday, and emergencies.
A little bit of a saving, I suppose.
Yeah, a saving. Yeah. Plus, a lot of public asset which was sold out and privatized in 20-25 years, in last 20-25 years, has to be brought back into public ownership. This is very important to at least stop this country being ruined. Once the transportation firms, once the energy firms are nationalized, it will help also with the people feeling for it, the sense of ownership. Once the people feel sense of ownership, then they contribute towards maintaining it, retaining it, and developing it.
Yeah. Just coming to your local issues, I mean, Chesham and Amersham is on the way of HS2, and there were a lot of protests there.
Yeah.
So would you please throw a light on that issue, which is important for your farmer community?
Yes, it is indeed. Liberal Democrats made it a point in last general election. They will stop HS2 project from the area. And I would like to ask Liberal Democrat candidates there, what is the progress she has made until date on that issue? Of course, we need high-speed railway for sure, but it has to take into account how it affects everyday life of the people from where it is going to pass through. And their will has to be taken into account. So a proper referendum should have been done before the project was approved. And what has the last 14 years, or say HS2 is now in effect for last 4 or 5 years. So what is the last government really done to address this?
What is the outcome?
What is the outcome? Yeah. And another issue, I mean, when I go out and speak to the people in High Street or the local businesses, the commercial rates, I mean, amazingly, they're so high that the small businesses can barely afford the rent, and they have to pay high commercial rates, then parking charges. For just this area, I have to pay £6 for 2 hours.
It makes everything stagnated, basically. Right. So you started doing your campaign for quite some time now. So just tell us that how does it work? Because you're quite a busy entrepreneur. You have a family, and so what is your daily routine, so to say?
Right. So first of all, it started as a social welfare project for me, because I really wanted to do something about Palestine, but I really wanted to do something about my local neighborhoods as well. We have no police station there. So crime rate is increasing in both Amersham and Chesham area. So I really wanted this to be a focal point, that there must be a police station in every small town. Yeah, that's very important. The library is shut down. Yeah, so focus on building the places of learning. Learning is part of a development of human beings.
Right.
Imam Ali said, knowledge alleviates a person.
Yes.
So well said.
Yes. I mean, we can never deny the wisdom of Hazrat.
So invest in where people can come and gain knowledge, really. I want to work on increasing the school spaces. I want to work on increasing the NHS spaces. And also, at the same time, social housing. I want to address the issue of homelessness. Sometimes I walk around the city centers and I see people just lying down on the street, really, in the sidewalks. We have an underpass in Chesham area. It's flooded. You can't use it.
How is the drug and alcohol issues? I mean, it's commonly related to homelessness and poverty, uneducation, lack of social support. How is your constituency faring with that?
So when people have less employment or less work, they tend to attract towards these sort of things. Everything, say, in a limit is okay for those people, but we need to create more industries where manufacturing can happen. If you have more manufacturing jobs, if you have more industries in Chesham and Amersham area, it will allow people to find work. And when you have working population, you have money in the system, and the high streets will benefit from it, the local areas will benefit from it, from local shops to the restaurants and businesses. And this is very important. We don't have industries in Chesham and Amersham area. We don't have industries in the UK.
Although it's very close to London.
Yes.
I think it's about 45 minutes train journey.
It's 45 minutes train journey.
It's very, very close.
So one of my key agendas is to promote industrial development, bring more and more industries in Chesham and Amersham area.
And that's a creation of employment.
Yeah,
and
you need real
commercial activity.
For any strong economy, manufacturing jobs are vital.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have manufacturing industries as much left in the UK, whatever the European Union project was. But now we are out of European Union, and good or bad, we have to move on from there. Yeah, we have to move on to make this better than Germany. Yeah, we should be building more cars here. We should be having more steel mills here. Germany has started using coal again. So we are pressed here by Sadiq Khan about ULS, which areas which are not even like in central London. But Germany is going back into using coal. Yeah, to deal with the cost of.
Coming back to more kind of a local issue. So how many people have you contacted so far? Do you do a count, and do you have a big team with you?
No,
going door to door, or how does it work?
So there have been three. So we are doing it on three fronts. I don't have a team. I have some friends and well-wishers, and they come out and support me when it's their day off from their work. So I'm very lucky that I come from Chesham and Amersham area. It's amazing community, and especially Chesham. We have lucky that I live quite close to the mosque, and so it's like one big family. So everyone comes along. Not only there's emotional and psychological support, but encouragement. And people come out and just guide me, and support me. Yeah, you're doing a good job, and we're very proud of you, and let us know what we can do. And like this morning, we were out. So I was with one of my revered brother, and he came out with his two young kids, and I took my daughter, and we went out and we knocked on around 300 homes this morning, from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and we do this like on daily basis. It came to me. The election announcement, like many, it came to me as a surprise as well, because I was thinking it's going to be later in the year, maybe October something. And I was in Milan when Rishi Sunak announced the election date. Yeah. So I was taken back, and I thought, I don't have enough time. I'm not even ready. Yeah. But Alhamdulillah, we have to make niyyah. And we have to do our best and leave the result outcome on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So, do you have any particular message or any specific message that you want to give to the members or your voters, basically, of Chesham and Amersham?
Yes, thank you for asking me this really, really important question. My message is, if you have been conservative voter for the last 15 years, and if your life has not changed, then you have to think really about it, if it is working. Or if you were protest voting last election and nothing has happened in 3.5 years, you have to think again. Was your vote of any effect? Please read the manifesto of every party thoroughly, and you have to be open-minded. You have to come out of your cage of being a Tory or a Labour or Lib Dem voter, and you have to allow people who may not be part of these organizations or national parties to come forward and take leadership. I come from Chesham area. I love my local area. I know people there. I go out on the street. I talk to them. I feel for it. I feel that there is not enough school spaces. I feel that there's not enough NHS appointments. I feel that the local businesses are going down, empty shops in the high street. This is really saddening. So we need to bring the only power that the voters have is their one single vote. And they have to really, really come out of their thinking or the cage of this conservative or Labour or Lib Dem and vote effectively. This is the time for change. Both conservatives, Labour are, as George says, two cheeks of the same backside. But Lib Dems are no different from conservatives. So you have to really think. There's a reason why government is formed for 4 years. So if somebody has not delivered it in 3.5 years, then probably they wouldn't deliver it in 10 years as well. So you have to think about it. One chance is enough. If they don't start delivering from the first month, from first 30 days, then you have to think about whether your vote was tactical vote or not.
Well, thank you. Thank you very, very much, Mohammed, for coming and sharing your thoughts. And we wish you all the best, like we wish all the best to all the candidates. And I'm sure the population of the United Kingdom will have the last say, and I'm sure will choose the right candidate to take the country forward. So with that, I say thank you very much to our viewers. So you heard from Mohammed, a ordinary and common citizen who is driven by his passion to do something for the community, and he told us very candidly about how he feels this country needs to go forward. Especially, I was touched by his passion that he wants to bring the lower one-third segment of the population and to help them rise so they can live properly, decently, and also access the NHS, education, and other positivities of life. So thank you very much once again watching it, and until next, goodbye from our London studios.